Hi everyone. So today we'll be having an interview with an alumni of ours, Mr. Saksham Grover. Graduated from the founding batch in IIT Mandi in around 2012, and he then went on to start a startup which got an angel funding of $500,000. He then continued further after selling the startup, and now he works at YouTube. So today we're going to get to know him, ask him a few questions that might be beneficial to us, and learn from his experiences. It. Hi, Mr. Grover. So first of all, I guess we should start with a little more personal introduction. So since we share the same alma mater, so what were your experiences at IIT Mandi, and how did they shape you?
Okay, awesome. So the very first question is a big one, a loaded one. So thank you so much, Arushi, Aditya, Prashwa, to organize this. Really happy to be here and talking to all of you, whoever is watching this live stream, and maybe afterwards when they're watching the video. So the background is that I come from Jabalpur. It's in Madhya Pradesh. Did all my schooling there, and then did the hard work like all of us to crack the IIT exam. I was kind of focused on getting the top branches. IIT Mandi was the only one that I could figure out the top three. So I was looking for computer science and mechanical engineering and electrical engineering, that in that order, and I got in IIT Mandi mechanical engineering in 2009. So that was the first batch. As all of you know, the first batch, actually the first year, started in IIT Roorkee. So we were in IIT Roorkee for the very first time, and it was kind of a privilege, right? Because we were in IIT Roorkee, which has like a long history of academics, but we were also the first batch of a new IIT. And we were, I think, only about 110 students then, 40 each in computer science, mechanical, and electrical. So I would feel we were like a very strong unit, right? Because we are only 108 of us in this new city, and then there's all these IIT Roorkee students are there. But we are kind of different from them, but we are also in the same college. So it was really fun because we could utilize their campus, the activities there, the history of IIT Roorkee, and the culture, the all the events that were happening there, and learn from them, because that was a very essential period. Because in the second year, when we went to the command IIT Mandi campus, like the Mandi city, there was nothing there, right? I mean, we being the first batch, the onus was kind of on us to kind of lay out the culture of the college, right? I mean, have all these different societies, organize the traditional events, the cultural events, the sporting events out there. So that first year of experience of IIT Roorkee kind of really helped us in doing that. And like how it shaped like my career in general, like what I learned from IIT Mandi was that because we were kind of like the first batch and new to everything, and allowed to like express ourselves in like what event should be there, what societies should be there, what kind of like org structure should we have in all of this, how do we operate. We were kind of operating at like very ground level, and that kind of exposed us to a lot of different experiences, which I think, I mean, I have like cherished them and like spoken about them like throughout, right? Because I don't know, I mean, maybe some of you don't know about it, but Exodia, I think, which is like a technical cultural event, I was like, again, privileged to be the organizer for the very first event there. So that kind of exposure, and it's just talking to all the external stakeholders, and managing them, and then you have all these different students coming to your college and all these events. I actually in that I think we spent about 4 to 6 months organizing Exodia and then building the sponsorship team and having the sponsorship. I and working with all the small core group. Those are my bestest of friends. Even now, so those are the people that I kind of like interact with on a daily basis because we kind of created something special. And that was throughout. I mean, and we kind of like the placement cell. I was not actively involved in the placement cell, but just how all the other students kind of worked on it and made sure that we could land a decent job after, like, even when being in the first batch and Mandi being such a remote city.
Hmm.
So that was great. I mean, definitely a great experience to learn and cherish all my life.
Amazing. So, like you say, you had to take all of this initiative yourself. So, did that kind of also roll into you starting having an idea for a startup, or like was it during your years at IIT Mandi, or was it after graduating that you sort of thought, yeah, I should go into this line for now? So,
I mean, it was not planned. Nothing was really planned. But I mean, I think there was always a bug inside to start something on my own sometime, right? I mean, even still, and you kind of like want to start something new, do something new, like call something that's kind of your own, right?
hmm,
And that actually one of the experiences in again in IIT Mandi was that uh, couple of my friends and myself. So I think it was Puneet Saini, Deepak Sharma, and myself. We actually started a small company in IIT Mandi.
hmm,
So we used to call the company Gear Docs, and it was focused on providing like CAD models. So like a website where you can upload your CAD and engineering analysis on those models and share it with other forums. And Dr. Om Prakash was also involved in that, and we kind of organized a huge workshop when I was in the last year, where different researchers from all different colleges attended that at IIT Mandi. So that was the start. So I mean, it after that, I mean, we all kind of went in different paths, so we could not sustain it.
hmm,
And then I took a job in Cognizant Technology Solutions in Chennai. Deepak and Puneet kind of went on separate ways. So the idea kind of like fizzled out. But that was my first experience. So and like of starting up and again doing something on your own and actually like dealing with the finances. um, but even in my like third year, fourth year, I was kind of sure that I won't be taking the mechanical engineering route. So like the mechanical jobs that were available, I
hmm,
actually did not sit in any of them. Cognizant was like probably the first 2 3 companies that visited the campus, and I got the placement there, and I just did not look for any other offers because I did not wanted to pursue mechanical engineering. My idea was that I'll have some exposure on mobile applications, and continue to work on my MBA candidature. So I was actually kind of preparing for CAT just after my college ended.
okay. So then, like, when you began the startup journey, so where, what did you, how did what problem was solved? What sort of gave you the idea, and then how were the initial days of the startup?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of found out the other co-founders in Chennai. They were staying at the same society that I was staying in, and we kind of used to play like badminton in the evenings. Nothing again, nothing planned, but and at that time actually they both of them did their MBA from IIMs, and I just got the admit to ISB. So I gave CAT and GMAT as well. So through GMAT, I was able to get the application through for ISB. And I just like, because we were like playing badminton, I could just kind of like connected with them, asked about like, okay, just about the career advice kind of thing, and that's how it like hit off. So we was like, okay, we have this like 9 months to go before the ISB comes in, so can we do something in this space? And the again the idea, this idea was kind of prevalent in China. So there are a couple of very big players that do the same idea, and there is one player in US as well. So there, I mean, we knew it was not completely new. We knew that this idea had some play in other markets. So for people who don't know, I'm talking about the startup Driverskart. So what Driverskart does is it provides on-demand chauffeur service. So very similar to like booking a cab on your mobile via like Uber or Ola. Our idea was that you book a driver to drive your car via the mobile app. And so this idea, again, I mean, there were huge market players in China, a smaller player in the US, and in India. What happened was India, like in terms of the cost of labor or the population, is a little bit similar to China. And what happened was when we started getting into the idea, there are already driver hubs. I mean, like call a driver. So I mean, right, the service was already available. So if you needed a driver, you had to call the driver agency and book a driver for like 4 hours or 6 hours block. And this was very similar to what how the cab industry worked before Ola and Uber. So before Ola and Uber, also you have these cab agencies where you book, where you call and book it, right? Because but it doesn't offer you the convenience of booking it through the mobile app. It doesn't offer you safety because there is no tracking of the driver. So it's just like the mobile device and the technology kind of adds the convenience, safety, transparency aspect to it. So we were I mean, Uber, Ola did it for the cab industry, and we wanted to do it for the chauffeur industry. So that was the initial seed.
Right. So then, as you said, so those 9 months, how did you go from an idea to having a startup that was getting like investment, and how did you go about that part of that phase of the? Tell us a little more about that.
Yeah, I mean, there were hiccups, definitely, like from the start, because I mean, even for myself, it was not like that I know about the end to end mobile application development, right? I was handling a part of mobile application in Cognizant for 2 years when I left the job, and then I started working with Driverskart. But I did not have the experience of like end to end development, right? And my background was also in mechanical engineering. So the first hurdle was to create a safe and stable mobile application where people can like log in, book a driver, and then the request reaches to a driver, and then the driver accepts it. So there are like two different interfaces: one the user interface and the driver interface. And that was a little challenging. But what happened at the end, and we kind of stumbled upon it, like we did. First of all, what we tried was we tried to engage with a consulting service, so like a tech consulting, and they offered us like two developers to work with. So I was kind of acting as a product manager for mobile application, and used to work with them to create this different modules, and the UI UX, how the technology, the backend would work. But it was kind of getting expensive, and again, I mean, we were like the others were still doing the job, and I had left my job, so there was some pressure financial on all of us to deliver. So it was kind of getting expensive to engage with this consulting firms. And then we this idea was little bit getting traction, because we started to talk with different investors as well. So we were creating this mobile application, but we were also like in parallel having this discussion with the investors to just get the feel of what they're thinking about this idea and stuff. And one thing led to another, and we found a tech partner. So basically, this was a tech firm that became our equity partner. So we offered them equity for the number of resources that they provided us. And then it kind of became easier, because now we were not actually paying money for them, and we were offering equity, so they were kind of becoming partners, so they owned the company. And that kind of feeling helped us in some way, where we were able to like create the prototype very fast. The idea was to create something like very vanilla version of it, and then keep building on it, right? Because we could not afford to like spend 1 year without any trips or without any revenue, and continue working on the product. So it was like, I think in 2 months we rolled out the Android version. In the next month we rolled out the iOS version. We started like a very vanilla version, just book the driver, and that's it. So just offer the GPS and thing. And then we, with time, we just started building features on top of it. We kind of engaged the UX person to create a more aesthetic vibe of the app, and then started going forward.
So then, why you went from, you were like, this was something that you built from absolute ground up. There was an idea that you had with your team, and what led to eventually selling the startup. And how is it getting like traction, like getting an angel funding of around $500,000 and all of that? So how was that bit of the journey for you?
Yeah, actually, when this was happening, so like in 4 months, we had the Android and iOS app, and we ran some promotions as well. So we ran promotions in all the pubs and bars in Chennai, saying that okay, if like because that was our prime market, right? So like, don't drink and drive. If you're coming with your car to a bar pub, have a couple of drinks, then you can hire a driver and then chauffeur back. So we had advertising campaigns with them. We had advertising campaigns with all these companies out there in like IT parks like Sirusari, and I am forgetting the name, but there were a couple of IT parks in Chennai, where we kind of sent out like emailers to the employees, because like, don't like, the idea was that don't hassle with traffic, right? You can utilize, if you are taking like 1 hour to and fro in your car and hassling with traffic, that kind of affects your work as well. So maybe you can just spend that time like sleeping, or catching up with friends, or reading a book, and do not hassle with traffic, and leave that to us. So these were the campaigns that we were kind of running. And we, in only I think 3 or 4 months, we were able to expand to Delhi, Bangalore, Hyderabad, Chennai was, again, I mean, that's the prime market. So those were the 4 markets we launched in like less than 3 months. So we were expanding a lot, and because of these like different driver agencies everywhere, we used to just partner with them, like with the existing driver agencies, and provide them the mobile applications and everything, so that we can all be connected by technology. But that approach kind of helped us scale very quickly, and that was something that I think the investors also noticed. And what other thing helped us was, as I mentioned, like this is a existing idea in China which is getting a lot of like traction. A lot of a very big player in China is kind of going doing the same service, and they had this traction in the US as well. Uh, and the second thing that really helped was that just when we launched, there was another startup, that launched in Bangalore, and they kind of got a funding of like probably like 1 or 1.5 million dollars before us, right? So the space was kind of getting exciting for everybody. So right, if they got the funding of like 1.5, and then there is the market players are there, and then we are also expanding so quickly, I think that enabled the funding for us as well.
Then, what really motivated your move to the US? I mean, you were settled in Chennai, and what sort of made you go pursue more further studies and all of that?
Yeah, so I mean, after we actually got the funding, and it was, I think we kind of stayed with Driverskart for another year, and a year and a half. And I had got admit to ISB, but I like postponed it once, and then I just left it, like, because I was working with Driverskart at that time. Um, After 1.5 years, we were trying to raise another round, but that kind of was not happening at that time. And the it is kind of challenging if you do not raise a whole lot of amount, because there is like burning cash everywhere, right, on the technology, retaining the drivers, because like drivers also used to not be like permanent with us. They, if they get other jobs, they kind of went with that as well. So we were facing all these different challenges, and we were not seeing like a clear answer to the problems, right? Because the answer to the problem was like raising more money, and kind of maintaining the quality that we promised to the customers, but that was not happening. And so that was one of the reasons that we tried to do it, but it was not like sustainable, and that led to the decision of getting acquired by DriveU again. So that was the deal. That's what happened in that period. And after that, I mean, I because I was keen on doing my MBA, and already got this admit to ISB and stuff, which I kind of left because of the startup. I thought to kind of take a step back and finish my education. Like, I just wanted to do an master's or an MBA program. And because I did not have the option of ISB, and did not wanted to like again start off with like CAT and doing that process again, I thought of doing that program in the US. So it was just that decision. I just did not wanted to get into a job very soon, because like the whole experience of Driverskart for that, I think 1.52 years was very like fruitful, very exciting, but also very taxing, right? Because we were like kind of working for like 16 hours, 18 hours a day. There was no weekend as such, because the whole startup was ours. I mean, there is we have to be like responsible for everything there. So it was kind of taxing as well. And at that point, I just thought that okay, I can probably take a step back and finish my education, then get into like another job or another startup in very soon. So that was the idea.
Okay, so after completing your education in the US, you started work with YouTube. Okay.
Actually, I mean, I kind of worked with interned at Nordstrom. So Nordstrom is a retail company here, fashion retail company. So my master's was in business analytics, but I took a lot of courses in data science, and that's the field I am kind of interested in. So I interned in Nordstrom as a data scientist, and then they gave me a return offer. So I worked there for another 6 months after my graduation. Uh, but always, I mean, the idea was that when I came to the US, I wanted to work for the best, right? So I mean, I was just targeting the top five technology companies out there, and always on the lookout for like job roles or like networking with people in those companies, like alumni of like USC or even IIT, if they were working in those, getting the referrals and stuff. So I was always looking out for the opportunity, and I found this role that was like kind of suitable. Applied there, did the interview process, and kind of cracked it after 6 to 7 months working with Nordstrom.
What is it like at YouTube? I mean, what is how is your how many you've had many years of like experience doing so many different interesting things. So how is that affecting your work at YouTube? And do you think going into entrepreneurship very early on, is it like beneficial to, and then going to the corporate sector, is that beneficial? What are your opinions on that?
Okay, I'll start with your first question. So I feel like YouTube is like you experience at YouTube is very different to whatever experience I have had before. So like working with Cognizant, working with Driverskart, or doing this uh, educational like degrees. It was experience in YouTube is like very different. But and why it's different is that it's a huge company, so it has this all this like processes and like all this different very diverse people that you have to work with and collaborate with. But it's also like very entrepreneurial in sense that you are kind of driving your own path. So I mean, the work that you are doing here, if there is a lot of work around, but you kind of have to prioritize, think about the business and prioritize your own work, and also your work life balance. So it is kind of like in between, I would say. So I'm right off like really happy to be part of this team. And one of the other things that like why I said it's entrepreneurial is that in our team we are only right now only like two people. uh, when I joined them, so we were only actually not, I think, three people. Sorry. So we were three people in the team, and in this 1.5 years, we have had some like org changes and stuff, and we have kind of like expanded now to 10 plus. So it's also very growing. The I'm working with the I was earlier working with the YouTube music team. So whatever music interaction, like the labels that are putting content on music, how the music kind of advertises on the platform, the different advertisers who are willing to pay for music. So all the different kind of analysis that relates to music, and it was kind of a very growing vertical on music. So that was kind of entrepreneurial, right? Because it's not very stable. There's a lot of like diverse work coming in, and then you are crunched with time to deliver, but also with like quality.
Right. So, do you think a technical background was beneficial in is relevant or beneficial to your work right now, or is it more related to your management degree and the work you did at USC?
No, no, no. I mean, technical. Actually, Google and YouTube actually are very tech focused. So like you definitely need some technology background to get in Google, be it any position. So actually maybe there will be some positions on the sales side that might not require the tech skills, but in all other positions, so like my role here is like a business intelligence engineer. So like in this role as well, it's very heavy on SQL. It's very heavy on like machine learning application through like Python. So we it is and it is throughout. So I mean, it's a there's a core focus on software for Google and YouTube. So the computer engineers and software engineers are kind of like the top of the chain. So they are the ones that kind of drive the strategy there. And the second people would be the data folks. So the data science or data analyst, business analyst folks would be second in command in driving the strategy. So that's how the kind of importance is given to the roles here.
So, what are your plans for the future now? Do you plan on ever like going and trying to build another startup or coming back to India and doing that? Is there anything on your mind of such nature?
I mean, again, nothing planned, right? I mean, just as the prior decisions as well to start up. Like I feel there are a lot of different things to click. You need to find the right idea. You need to find the budget. You need to find the right team, which I think it's the number one priority, right? Because in building something, you need some complementary skills, and you have to like understand that you cannot do everything. So definitely like finding the right set of folks, complementary tech skills, and also skills like just I mean emotional intelligence, right? I mean, if you find a problem, like let's say you start working on something for 3 months, there is a problem that comes in and somebody like just drops out,
Mm-hmm.
or has some other problem, and then he or she drops out, then everybody else is in a fix,
Right.
right? So they need like not only the technology tech skills or hard skills, you need like soft skills, you need personal skills. You need to be comfortable with the team to create something. So then that cannot be like really planned. uh, I I mean, if you ask me, once you like become an entrepreneur, you always are kind of thinking to go back, you to find something and go back and another again like follow that journey. Um, but it's not planned. And as I said, like even at YouTube, there are a lot of high stakes, and you are kind of responsible for them. So it's not exactly the entrepreneur journey, but still you still need to have that mindset to continue working and then delivering value for the business. So right now I'm like quite happy with where I am and the work that I'm doing. And every day is like still kind of a learning experience, because there are so many facets to YouTube business. So just learning everything, and then talking to this like very diverse set of people, right? So in whatever meeting I am part of, I mean actually never been the smartest in the room. There is always like other people who are so much smarter and so much intelligent, and working on these like ambiguous and high scale problems. So I'm right now very happy with where I am, but future, I don't know what the future holds.
Absolutely. So I think you gave us a very clear picture of your experiences over the years, and I think now I guess we can move on to the questions from the audience. So I guess let's deal those. So this one is asked by Rachit Goyal. So he's asked, why were you not able to improve the product at that point of time? What was the reason, and why did you decide to sell the company? I think this was covered, but if there's anything you'd like to add.
Sure. So, thanks, Rachit, for the question. So, there were two major challenges that I feel. One was on the technology side. in the when we were providing mobiles to drivers, we had the huge problem of battery drain. So now, when you are on a cab, you can actually charge your mobile in the car. But if you when you are a driver, you don't have that car, right? So providing them first the power banks, we provided them power banks. We did some improvement on the GPS tracking so that the battery drain kind of like limits. But it was a continual challenge for us. And then when their mobile used to switch off, it's like service down, because there was no way of interacting with them, and it was kind of becoming a challenge. And also, like, we did not raise that much amount of money that we would give everybody like mobile phones and the power banks, because like we were scaling very fast, but we did not have the funds to support every driver. So that was one. And the second thing was that this work was very operation heavy. So the unit metric, so like the unit dynamics of, okay, you do one trip, this is the cost to business and this is the revenue to business, that was not adding up. To add that up, we needed a lot of scale, and for scale we needed more funding, which we were not able to get. So those were the two other points that I wanted to add.
If you if you could go back and change something, is there anything you would have done differently now? No, now being more experienced, and or
I mean, I just feel that, I mean, there are definitely smaller nits here and there that, okay, now in retrospect we can think, okay, we could have done like this, we could have done like that. But at that very point, we thought we were doing the best thing possible. And I just feel we had raised a lot of cash, but because if we would have like been a safer or more experienced in some areas, then maybe we would not have like burned so much cash earlier, right? So we could have like stayed longer in the game. That could have allowed us more time to raise funds. Raising funds was inevitable, so we had to raise funds to sustain the business. So, but if we were more mature or smarter with the money that we had and played a longer game, then that could have helped us raise cash and making it like big. But again, those are things in retrospect. At that time, it was a very very fast paced environment, and very less time to react.
okay. I think we'll go on to the next question, which was how was the shift of going back to a job after doing a startup? This has been asked by Kathy.
Yep. So yeah, I mean, I did not like really go back to the company directly, right? I mean, I went to the MBA program first at USC, and that kind of allowed me to adjust to the mindset, because I mean, it was not as heavy as working in the startup. Right, so I was able to take courses that I liked. My focus was again business application, but data science heavy courses. So I was allowed to do that. I did some like extracurricular activities as well. So kind of had like a relaxed environment in at USC, the MBA program that I did there. And then I went to YouTube, but in even as I mentioned in YouTube, it's like very small team working on big challenges, working with all this very intelligent, smart people around. So it's continued to stay challenging, and that's the exciting piece. And it was exciting at the startup because we were doing everything on our own, and here we are. There's definitely like stability because we are working on the job and the corporate culture, but the kind of problem or the scale of the problem, right? Because like YouTube is massive and the revenue numbers are huge. So we are still there is a lot at stake here, and you kind of use your technical expertise to come up with the business impact here. So that's again been very challenging and very fulfilling to work with the intellects here.
So, Ashwini Singh has asked if you have any advice about finding the right team members to start a startup.
Yeah, I mean, there is no one recipe. I feel, right. I mean, if you think about like Driverskart or Gear Dogs, like that started in IIT Mandi, uh, it like it like Gear Dogs journey. Deepak kind of like reached out to me. Deepak Sharma. We used to play table tennis together, and I mean, Deepak Sharma was also in a mechanical engineer, but he was 1 year junior to me, and we worked together in Exodia, right? So he was, I think, in the planning team there. So we worked together, and then he kind of had this idea of Gear Dogs, and he pitched that to me, right? And then we both kind of spoke together. We had the support of the faculty, Dr. Om Prakash there, and then we reached then we thought, okay, what are the skills that we don't have, or what are the items that we need right now to develop Gear Dogs. So we discussed the vision, okay, where we want the Gear Dogs to be, and then we thought, okay, what are the skills that we don't have or we don't want to work on because we can work on something else, and that's how we kind of expanded the team. Like we in the core group, so we had like one or two other groups, right? So that was Gear Dogs. But for Driverskart, and I mean, it was just out of the blue, right? Because we just used to play badminton, and then I went for their advice on like MBA, right? Because I had got admitted to ISB, so there was no plan to go for this idea. And just when I was asking about MBA and their career journey, this idea kind of like came up, and then we started working on it because we had like 7-8 months, and then because it got traction, we continued to work on it, and then I skipped ISB and stuff, right? So there is no one recipe. I would say just to be open to opportunities, and keep exploring things. I mean, if you want something, like if you want to be an entrepreneur, if you want to work on something, just keep exploring the different ideas, getting exposed to different environment or a different set of activities, different set of people. And if you are open to this opportunity, right, that you want to be an entrepreneur or you want to work on something, then in some discussion somewhere, if you continue working on it, you would find some like-minded people, and then you can take it from there. But I would definitely suggest, I mean, encourage to have at least one or two people along with you if you are starting something new. Because just being one person, like you will soon realize that you cannot do everything. So you do need specialized people to take care of parts of the business, so that you can like sustainably grow to a space where you can think of like expanding or raising funds and taking the next step forward.
Okay, thank you. Aryan Ali has asked, what were the mistakes, if there were any, that you made at your stay at IIT Mandi? Entrepreneur.
Okay, so the only, and I kind of like, and I am sure this would happen with all of you, and this would happen with all my like peers as well, like which were part of my like first batch or second batch, all the alumni right now, is that at that time, because we were building everything up, there sometimes there would be some resistance, right? Because like you want to become something, so like secretary here, but somebody else also wants to become a secretary, so there is some politics around things, and then you kind of go sometimes things can become like negative, right? I mean, you're not talking to people, or there is some issues with this group. There are like different groups forming and all those things. And that used to happen with us as well. And we were in the first batch, so there were a lot of like different opportunities, and then everybody wanted to like shine, right? And there is no harm in that. There is no harm in like going for something, or like becoming a secretary and doing something good and stuff like that. But in because everybody wants it in this politic culture and this resistance, sometimes um, you kind of unfriend other people, right? I mean, you kind of neglect them. And there are like friends, there are people that I thought that I mean, because of all this like resistance and stuff, we are not in like talking terms. Like at that time we were not in talking terms at when we were in college. And now I kind of like look back and think that it was like so small, right? I mean, it's just like 1 or 2 years of your life. And the friendship can actually last much longer, right? And then in those like 1 or 2 events. So that's the only thing I can right now think of. That, I mean, that was like unnecessary, like the groups, creating of the groups, and then neglecting other people, and then fighting over some position in some group, and things like that, which doesn't like really make sense or add up when you look at your college years after 5 or after 10 years.
Absolutely. Um, so, somebody has asked, how can we develop entrepreneurial skills while in college and after that?
I would say, I mean, what you can do is first, like, realize what are your skill sets are. Like in creating an idea or developing a product, you already know what are the different things you need, right? I mean, if you're developing a mobile application, you do need a computer engineer who has backend application, right? If you are and it, depending on what the product is or what it does, you need other expertise. Like for Driverskart, we needed somebody to create the mobile app. We also needed somebody to be in charge of operations, right? Because you have to talk to the driver networks, you have to talk to the customers, you have to set up like a service center, customer service center. And then you need somebody to handle the finances, right? So talking to the shareholders, what investment, how much investment is needed, to have like a finance forecast plan on how we'll be spending the money, how the unit economics looks like, making sure that we are on the right track. So like most of a like an executive position who deals with like finances and stakeholders and investors, right? So there are different skills that are required at this stage, depending on, and that kind of depends on the idea as well. But definitely, what it will help to know, like, first of all, it depends on what your branch is. So if your branch is like computer engineering, then you kind of can expose yourself to mobile application development, right? Because that, or VR or AR. I mean, it could be actually any space, right? So it's very difficult to say right now that what exactly you should do, but it should be something that you are like really interested in. And in business, there are like so many different ideas. I mean, it could be very simple as like a website which doesn't require you to have mobile application experience, but it could be heavy on something on the user research side, or like something on a user experience, something on like finances. So it's hard to say what is that one particular skill, but I would say just focus on something that you really like doing. You just get better at that, and getting exposed to the startup things. I mean, you can join you join a podcast. You can read books about it, how other people started up. I think that those would be the starting points that you can do to prepare yourself.
Okay. Okay, so this is maybe this is a personal experience question. So, Rachit Goel wants to know about how you convinced your first customer, if you did, for Driverskart, and your first driver, like that initial probably first appointment or something like that. If you have any memory of it.
Yeah, yeah. So the first driver, actually, the first 10 drivers, we just hired them permanently. So basically, we interacted with a driver agency, and we just acquired 10 drivers from them on a monthly basis.
Hmm.
Because like we did not know what the demand would be, we did not know what the like whether we'll be like supply crunch or not. So initially we started with like two drivers. When we started getting trips, we expanded to five, expanded to 10. So they were not on a per trip basis. They used to just work for Driverskart on a monthly. We used to pay them monthly amount of money,
Hmm.
irrespective of whether they do trips or not. So we provided them the stability, right? So even if they are not doing if they are doing like one trip, zero trip, or 10 trips, they used to get the monthly pay to get them started initially. And as we expanded, we then added like incentives. So like, okay, if you do three trips, then extra 550 rupees. Like if you do 10 trips, just added incentives for them to take more trips. So that's how it started on the driver front. On the customer front, what happened, we started with our like society. So as the all the three co-founders used to live in the same society, we kind of had some we knew some people who hired drivers on call, right? So we kind of reached out to them. We just provided like free promo codes for our society members to try our service and try our mobile app. And that's how we got the initial set of customers. So the customers who used to like hire drivers on call now started hiring drivers through like Driverskart and using the mobile app. And once we got like 10 people, 15 people, 20 people, we then started like this partnerships with different companies, different bars, and different pubs. And what really helped initially was word of mouth, right? Word of mouth marketing campaign. So like basically, if you deliver a service to one person and he really likes it, then that person kind of talks to other people, and then other people try out, right? I mean, that's the best form of marketing of your product that can happen, right? If you are just acquiring one customer and then he without any other marketing spend, he kind of talks advertises about your company because you are giving superior service, and then due to him there is like a network effect, and that's how the companies kind of grow.
Okay. So I think we'll move on to our last question for today, and that is, looking back, do you think IIT Mandi had a role in making you what you are? This is asked by Piyush Verma.
Big role. I think it's a big role. Again, I mean, first of all, just cracking IIT is a big thing, right? I mean, it kind of is a confidence booster, because I mean, I don't recall the exact stats, but even getting into like Harvard or Stanford is easier than like in terms of the percentage, because there are so many people applying for IIT. I think it's the stats are against most people when they are applying, and when they're applying for IIT or sitting in that exam. So cracking that, first of all, is a huge confidence booster, that you put in the work and you get some desired result, and you crack an IIT, and then that kind of like stays with you all your life, right? Because the IIT network and IIT alumni network, even after that, if you are searching jobs on LinkedIn or talking to other people on forums, if you find like an IIT alum, there is a little bit affinity towards you, right? Because you kind of have went through the same journey. And IIT Mandi was special for me because it uh, being the first batch, it kind of expanded my horizon. So I basically like getting exposed to all these different activities that I had never thought I would do. So like just organizing the cultural technical festival, playing table tennis on the inter IIT scale. So I used to play table tennis, chess, and cricket there. So just given this all these opportunities there, and because we were new, we were also like given all this opportunity, right? Because I don't know if you were part of like IIT Roorkee with so much other competition, maybe we all of us would not have been exposed to all these different activities. So that kind of experience stays with you, and just talking with all these folks and doing something on your own also stays with you. And even like from the professional standpoint, like academic standpoint, I think because we had these associations with IIT Madras and IIT Roorkee, there were professors teaching us those courses. So I never felt that we lagged any, even though we were new IIT, we lagged any academic capabilities. And professionally, after when we were looking for jobs, it is a little bit again easier, right? Everybody knows in India what IIT is, so it is they kind of know that okay, this person has that caliber, and you can trust the sources. So
Yeah.
it compared to any other college, if you're looking out for the same job, it is kind of easier, and that it actually helped me in landing my first job. It was like a campus placement, cognizant. It helped me in my application to USC, right? Because you have those points that okay, you have cracked IIT, which is one of the toughest exams in the world, and gone through all these experiences. And then doing the startup and being part of IIT actually helped me in getting the job at YouTube and Nordstrom as well. So it's all of it is incremental. So whatever you do kind of adds to your profile, and helps you in your future endeavors. It's just about like keep going at it and keep just working at it.
Okay. So I think we'll wrap up the session for today. Thank you so much for coming, and I think all of us have like learned a lot from you and your experience. Thank you for being so candid, and it's been great talking to you. If you have any last remarks or anything.
No, I mean, yeah, this was great. Yeah, thank you so much again. The e-cell, it was the e-cell was started by a very dear friend of mine. I think Vaibhav Agrawal was probably the first organizer for e-cell, and this idea came up. We had this e-cell in IIT Roorkee, so that was the idea that we picked up to have this organizing. So it is just great to be part of this after so long, and interacting with all of you. And thank you so much, Aditya, Arushi, and Persh, for doing this and having me here.